for business, the municipality, whatever. And so we're here to help you get ideas on what you want to do and to share ideas. People can do things on their own or in partnership. The Friends of 250 will help promote it in the partnership we have with the county and the CVB, so that we can get the word out there should you want more folks to come and see what's going on. And this was the note that we sent out to folks, and thank you for coming. And there are so many people who are invited to this, and we also did it on social media. So the more the merrier. So we're just trying to get the word out and include everybody. There are all kinds of ideas that are seeming to come up when we look across Chester County. Our whole question is, what linkages do we have to our nation's pursuit of liberty and justice for all here where we live, and to our continuing journey to build a more perfect union? So we're really trying to help individuals and groups think about that. And there's all kinds of things that people are thinking of doing throughout 2026. And so there's some here to just kind of give ideas, and we can, but for the timeline that we're looking at this point, for many up in Boston, 2026 already began, right? And Grant, you know history better than I do, most likely, and so does Heather and all. But the fact is, Paul Revere's ride was celebrated this past weekend. Two lights, one if by land, two if by sea. So they did the great Paul Revere's reenactment rides, which they do every year. But this one was more important because it was 250 years old. Here in Chester County, this guy named Bruce Mowdy, that many people probably know, has been very busy with the Lafayette Bicentennial Tour, and that will be coming to Chester County in July. And he will be doing things at the Brandywine and Westchester as part of the tour overall. So the 250th celebrations and commemorations really have begun in Boston, Lexington, down in Virginia even. So, and here with the Lafayette tour as well in a certain way. A lot of times when people think of the signing of the Declaration of Independence around the 4th of July, that's the day, but it really is throughout the year. And as you know so well, in Chester and Delaware counties, the Brandywine battle was 9/11/77, with the Philadelphia campaign headed up through Clouds and Paoli and over to Germantown and then over to Valley Forge. The march-in wasn't until the winter of '08. So the things we're putting in place are a preparation in many cases for the continued heritage interest we're hoping to really raise up, and to put things in place that could last in many cases for a very, very long time. So right now our message is 250 will be here in 1 year, and we're encouraging people and organizations to organize their Let Freedom Ring events, commemorations, celebrations, whatever. And I mean, this is stuff you all know. So basically what's important we find in Chester County, the 250 Commission has said, look, there's all kinds of events that already go on. And there's all kinds of sites out there. So can you please add an overlay to what you're doing already so that it has a patriotic civic engagement flair to it? So here is the aim. Really, we want to help everybody figure out how Chester County influenced our past and elevate the understanding of the continuing journey to build a more perfect union. The most obvious focus for Southern Chester County is the Philadelphia campaign. Because as you know, it came right up sort of Route 1 and all the way over to Valley Forge. And of course, people had to eat, and iron and steel forged our freedom, literally. And so there's an awful lot of trails and things to see and do there that can be developed to support the tourism and the visits. And there's some unfinished business, path to freedom, at the Harriet Tubman Byway, and the fact that we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal is the opening of the Declaration of Independence, and there was some unfinished business because all men weren't created quite equal. So the civil rights movement and the path to freedom are a supportive theme as well that really affects Chester County quite a lot. And we have stories to tell. So those are the heritage themes explained here as well in the county map. And you can see in southern Chester County, we've got Philadelphia Campaign, we've got Underground Railroad, we've got agricultural bounty, not so much iron and steel when you look at the map of what we could really do just by the very power of our place. And there's in the handout that Emily will send, and it's on the website too, there's more detail about the themes and the maps. But there's all kinds of things that can be done. And if it's not that you care about, at least it's the rights and responsibilities of we the people as citizens of the United States. And these seem and highlighted to be the ones that most resonate with people as we've been having these talks. So to have conversations and presentations about that can be a part of it as well. So we just are asking people to think about the stories that are unique to their community and the messages that can be shared. Some people are starting to come together and do some tell your stories, videos, artwork, photos, whatever, galleries, shows. What does freedom mean? Are you proud to be American? All kinds of things can happen. We are also working with Valley Forge National Historic Park on a Dare to Declare initiative, which I think nobody's here from the Kennett Library. Yep, the Kennett Library is signed on already. So Dare to Declare will be happening throughout the summer of 2026. And it's an initiative to help everybody who wants to read the Declaration of Independence aloud. And we are working with some incredible regional experts on this to provide resources so that if you want to have a reading of the Declaration of Independence anytime over the summer, we will help you and encourage you and provide all kinds of tools and resources so that people can read and understand it and have conversations about it, whether it's formal in an academic setting or a forum or informal at a tavern or community picnic, whatever works. So it is the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and Rose Valley Forge thought that people might actually want to be able to read it and talk about it. So that's a Dare to Declare initiative, and the Kennett Library has signed on to do that over the summer. And we're looking for other folks as well in all kinds of places. And we will help co-promote every single thing we possibly can throughout the year. And we're working with the CVB so that the programs you come up with can be co-promoted to people who live here and work here, as well as through tourism and people who are going to visit. And so that's on the website as well. So that's our little overview. But what I'd love to hear from you is questions, comments, and observations. What do you have thinking about for 2026? And how can we help? Anybody have ideas so far of what you're doing through 2026?
Karen, I'm happy to
Yeah, Colin, what's going
step
on
forward.
with the Kennett Symphony in Longwood?
Yeah. And in my introduction, I failed to mention that I'm former Chester County Commissioner. And also for a number of years ran a public policy organization with the name Let Freedom Ring.
Mhm.
But what we are doing is we are commissioning an original orchestration, original arrangement of patriotic tunes that goes from the 18th century to the 21st century. And it will be all instrumental, not singing, but it will take everything from Yankee Doodle Dandy to Proud to be an American and everything you can imagine in between. And the idea is for it to build almost like a John Williams movie theme so that it ends with a great crescendo that will cause people to rise to their feet in pride for this nation and for those 250 years.
I can see the cannons going already. So this original commission that you're doing is underway and it'll be at Longwood.
It'll be at Longwood for our annual outdoor concert, which will be on a Thursday in June. It'll either be the 26th or the week before. I think
Okay,
it'll be the 26th. So coming just a little bit before the 4th of July.
that's great. That is
Oh, it's
terrific.
wonderful. There are 1,200 seats at Longwood. We fully expect to sell it out, and we may look for other opportunities
I'm gonna say
to
runouts, yeah.
perform this piece and maybe get it recorded and available to others and so on. All of that is very much in development, but the the initial steps in getting the arrangement commissioned are underway.
That is terrific. I am so glad that you got together and are really supporting the symphony, and I know that Tim Blair is honored to have you.
Oh, I was fun working with Tim. I actually was involved with the symphony way, way, way back when, because my stepfather was a violinist in it back when it was an all-volunteer symphony. And then he became president of the board, which is Tim's current position. So
Okay,
I've been connected to the symphony for, 50 some years. So, but
that
not
is
closely
terrific.
because I have absolutely zero musical talent. But I do have some level of musical appreciation.
That's what it takes. That's very great. Great. Now, Heather, I just saw you put the Dare to Declare link in there.
Yes, I did. It's a link to the website, our website with the information, a little bit more of information on Dare to Declare. We will be developing more materials in the coming months, but I also shared the workshop series that Dr. Emily Sneff is going to be doing in May, starting in 2 weeks, I think. Or is it this coming week? No, I think it's in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But she's having a series of 3 workshops on how to read the Declaration of Independence and various topics related to that. And it looks excellent. I'm looking forward to it myself, and we will be working with her with our own materials development soon enough.
And you know what, Colin, it would be, if there's a way that you can zoom into those workshops, I would like to hear, because of your Let Freedom Ring background, what you think of Emily Sneff's work. She's a national expert on the Declaration of Independence,
Sure.
and she lives in Trapp, Pennsylvania. And we've asked her to work with Chester County to help our sites get ready for the Dare to Declares. So it would be, Heather will make sure and get you everybody the information on it. We keep sending it out. But it's 3 Zoom sessions. You can just go to one, doesn't matter, but on Monday nights in May at 7 o'clock.
Okay, I
And then
just want to be able to get the actual info on that if you could.
yeah, we'll send it out to everybody
Yeah, we'll
after it.
send it out. I just dropped it in the chat too. So
Oh,
Because
okay, great.
truthfully, I'm thinking, wow, wouldn't it be great to see if we could do a Dare to Declare thing before the Kennett Symphony does the performance that night? And Sheila, I'm thinking, oh, at Nixon Park, boy, what a great site for a Dare to
Sure.
Declare out on the amphitheater stage to have, school kids reading parts of it and all that sort of thing. So
And the Chester County Courthouse, historic courthouse,
yeah, I was just over
courthouse
there.
steps, naturally.
Oh, we want to have it throughout the county. Maybe we'll have to have an aim of 250 different sites. I don't know.
Under the auspices
250
of,
readings. What do you think, David? 250 readings at Dare to Declare throughout the summer? Can we do that? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we can do anything.
Okay, all right. So who else has ideas of what's going on during 2026?
I want to chime in real quick on the Dare to Declare, because I saw something in the news from another community, and actually it was across the country, is they set up quiz bowls with the local school students. So they brought in a Declaration of Independence expert, and the schools were challenged to put together teams of children who would come to the quiz bowl as teams and be quizzed on the history, in this case, the Declaration of Independence, and they were awarded points and eventually award a trophy, which really I was shocked by the absolute participation level. And one of the things, as I've told you, is I want to find ways to get all levels of ages involved in this. And I thought the Quiz Bowl was a kind of a fun and easy way to let people to volunteer to get involved. And some people at that level are history buffs.
So I'm thinking John Sandville is a history buff at Unionville, and he'll be in place for a little bit more. That could actually be pretty helpful. And tomorrow I'm meeting, or no, with the PR folks at the schools throughout the county with Becky Brain's office through the intermediate unit. Interesting. Yeah, what a great idea. The Dare to Declare constitutional quiz bowls. And that's why we said summer, as opposed to just like July, because the schools will still be in session in May and starting up again in September. Matt, you thought that was a good idea, didn't you? You shook your head. Yeah? Any ideas of who we should reach out to in the area?
I will think it through, but yes, I certainly think that would be a great idea. And the new superintendent at Kennett Schools may certainly be interested in. And once we know a little bit more information, I'll be happy to reach out to her.
Yeah, right now, the website that Heather sent out is in beta testing. We have some things we have to correct on it. Plus, we're working on getting resources up on the website, and we weren't really going to heavily promote it until after this 4th of July because we didn't want to confuse people, but we just wanted to plant the seed. Yeah, good. Thanks, Matt. Good. What else? Leslie, you had the concert band. You want to follow music to music? The concert band, your Chester County Concert Band is very different from the Kennett Symphony.
Wait, hold on. Yes. Well, I mean, it's very different, but we do play a lot of similar type music. In fact, I was just going to try to contact Colin about, finding out about like who's the composer, arranger, whatever. It'd really be more of an arranger of the piece that they're commissioning. Because it would be nice. I mean, it probably wouldn't be done in time, but it would be nice to have a band version of the same piece. Because a lot of the music that we play, since of course orchestral music has been around for a long time, so a lot of our music are transcriptions of orchestral music. I mean, there's still plenty of music that's written for bands, but we do a number of transcriptions as well. So it'd be wonderful. Again, I had actually been very fortunate to sit next to Colin at the event that was at the Chester County Historical Society.
Carolyn Committee's event.
Yeah. So and
I saw you two sitting next to
yeah,
each other.
that was just totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I just sat down, and then I see he's from the Kennett Symphony. I'm like, oh, I'm with the Chester County Concert Band. So anyway, we had a nice talk, and we're discussing Longwood Gardens and everything. And of course, again, they have their in with the gardens, and we would love to be in again.
We'd love to help you.
That'd be great.
It's
That'd be
getting
great.
harder and harder.
Yep, I know.
It is,
It is.
yeah. So Leslie, for except for the Longwood Gardens Desire,
Yeah.
the Chester County Concert Band for other townships, what do you need in order to perform?
Basically, we just need enough space. Now, even though our band has over 100 members, we would not want that to scare anyone off. Typically, most of our public performances have more in the range of like 60 to 65 who would be performing. So pretty much we just need folding chairs. And then we kind of take it from there. We bring all of our other equipment, and we can even provide a sound system as well, if that's needed. So we always have that in our percussion trailer, ready to go. But I mean, we can, obviously, when you're talking about music for next year, it's going to be, heavy into patriotic stuff, but it'll be, our music can cover everything, stuff for all ages, including children. We try to always have music that would be appreciated by all ages, all different types of music, big band, swing, rock, just kind of everything. So
Played at Rose Street Park, I remember, in Delaware County.
yeah,
So you
yeah.
play
So
outdoors.
we're playing there at the end of June. So that is one place that we play every year. And our big concert our spring concert is going to be May 4th at Fugate Middle School in Westchester. And that is going to be, the theme is Road Trip Across America. So that's kind of leading into, next year's thing. So we're basically starting in New York and traveling all across the country and ending in California and visiting, like, I don't know, 15 or 16 different states or cities or or areas that, you know, to take us across America. So it's going to be a really fun concert.
Yeah.
We
Do you do anything smaller than the 60 to 75, or is that just not feasible?
we have done that in the past. I know our director really kind of, you know, says the Chester County Concert Band is who we are. But we have taken groups of like 40, 45, you know, a smaller group. I mean, there's only so small we can go that we
Or you're
would,
not a concert band.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, we would still have to have, you know, a certain number of each instrument to make it sound like a band.
Right.
Uh, so
And what's your fee range? How much do people have to shell out to pay for you?
it really varies, but you know, in general, for a public concert that's about an hour, you're talking uh anywhere in the neighborhood of probably 1,300 to 1,800 or so. You know, and that's just kind of an approximate range, depending on what all we have to do for setup and that kind of thing.
Right, I had a lot of questions. Anybody else have questions? It's good music.
Yeah,
I would-
she was at our concert last year,
Yeah,
so
a Fugit I'd never got heard of before, and it's amazing. I mean, you had people standing up and cheering. Yeah, it was
yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
So what else is going on that we know of or thoughts? Is anybody, Hank, Grant, anybody, Lynn? Sheila? Anybody doing anything for 2026 or things in the works? Or things you think should be done if only somebody could do it?
I'll chime in. You know,
Thank you,
from our
Kathy.
point of view out here is we have engaged a couple of sites and we haven't. I've talked to Grant maybe in passing about the 250, but we have never sat down and discussed things. But we continuously, well, first of all, we have a fair amount of kind of Americana in Chadds Ford Township, as you know, and we have issues consistently over our wonderful sites all doing the same things on the same day.
Ah,
For instance, on Saturday we have Nult's Battlefield Park Day, and we also have the Brandywine Battlefield Parks preserving our past. Same exact time. We're going to try our best to engage all of our sites to not have that, so we don't have to spread our volunteers so thin, and we can get kind of the maximum amount of punch for each event. So, Grant, I hope we can talk to you soon about making sure that any efforts that you guys are doing, we can kind of coordinate out, at least as far as that's from a township perspective. That's what I'm looking for.
yeah.
And Hank can add if he wants. And I know he's muted. So
Oh,
um,
Hank, you're
Hank's
muted, Hank.
muted.
Unmute yourself, Hank, because I'm not used to you being muted.
Okay, I'm
There you
back.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Okay.
Okay. So what we started, and it's been a process, but we started talking to a few of our neighbors around us that share a similar historical point of view. And we're looking perhaps at having more conversations with them to put together maybe a program or an activity that can tie us to the township and those historical sites. The other thing that we're going to start to look at is the hospitality around our area, which Karen, I mentioned to you before, that I've not heard a lot of that in other conversations, but certainly, we're a small township and we have a handful of bed and breakfast and places of that nature. So once we sort of put our calendar together, we're then going to go out and have those conversations, both with the bed and breakfast, the hotel chains, and some of the restaurants in the area.
Do you know Robert Raffetto?
I do not.
I'm
Kathleen?
gonna
I
spread
do.
his name around. Does anybody know Bob?
I know Bobby.
Yeah. So Bobby is on the CVB board, the tourism board,
Right,
Okay.
and he was also the co-owner of the Dilworth Town.
for sure.
Oh,
And I had a great
okay.
conversation with him, and he wants to help mesh together the hospitality industry with the sites and attractions. So I have his card here, and we're gonna
Okay.
get him to zoom in on things. Maybe we could actually do a zoom in session so he can, yeah, so it's, I'll send his contact around and do an intro. Colin, how do you know Bobby? And I'm gonna call him Bobby next time, too.
From
Colin told me.
from years at the Dilworthtown Inn and the innkeeper's kitchen and the pear and so on.
Yeah,
I think as far as, Dilworthtown is such an important site to us. I know it's our historic district in Chadds Ford Township, but being that there's a lot of it's in Birmingham, and that's Chester County, and it's a different township. So none of us lives in a bubble, which is why I appreciate today. But
yeah.
we have to make sure we haven't reached out to Birmingham yet. And but Dilworthtown is, I think, going to be important to Chadds Ford as well.
I agree. And this goes back to to the Heritage Interpretive Network, and because visitors and tourists really don't know county lines, nor should they. So,
No.
yeah, I mean, there's great sites all over the place, and there's great amenities, and we've got to really make sure that people have great experiences and learn and have fun and experience all kinds of things. So, yes, trying to. Grant, can you share a little bit of news about what Brandywine might be thinking about?
Yeah, we have a number of things that we're working on that are still very much works in progress. And, due to the nature of some of those things, we often, do keep them kind of close to the vest until we're ready to announce and try to get a big splash out of them. But, I can say we are hopeful that we are going to start construction on some new amenities to welcome the public to our Birmingham Hill Preserve in 2026. We don't know. We're still working through some final design elements. We have some grant funding pending. We have a lot of funds already in hand to begin to activate that site in a context sensitive way. We do know that that property was the site of some core battle action. So, we're going to be very sensitive to it when we put anything on hallowed ground there. Kind of what's standing in our way a little bit is needing to remove some non-historic structures from the property, notably the former residence of Bobby Odell.
Oh,
due
that's
to-
hard. Yeah,
But it has
I
one of
know.
the, it's not a historic home.
Yeah.
This was all talked about when we acquired that property through several pieces from her.
Yep.
We're going to be keeping the log cabin. It's not historic to the site, but we're going to
Yeah.
use that as part of an interpretive center there on the
Good for you.
property.
Good.
Unfortunately, it's really hard to find demolition funding. We have funding to construct, but that doesn't unlock demolition funding. So we continue to try to get creative in how we can propose those plans, but we are using the construction funding to move forward with some design and architectural services while we still pursue some creative ways to get demolition funding. So we hope to have that ready to go during 2026, and then a second phase in time for the 250th anniversary of Battle of Brandywine.
Wow, that is amazing
So
that you really got that timeline.
yeah,
Good
so
for
we're
you.
excited that we'll have a couple things going on there. On the art museum side, we are working through some ideas for different exhibitions we have. This would be using things in our own collection that would be relevant to help celebrate the 250th. So, I think that's kind of self-explanatory. If you kind of think of our collection and what some of those pieces are, you think, and some of the NC Wyeth and Kingmakers and things like that. So, we don't have all the details yet. Once again, we would look to have a big announcements once we get that exhibition put together. So stay tuned on that. We are, of course, a partner in the Brandywine Battlefield Task Force. So looking at some things there. We have some grant funding out for some additional activities that, once again, we're trying to figure out what would be best for America 250 versus Battlefield 250. A number of years ago, for instance, we published a hiking through history brochure that follows a campaign. And so we've thought about hosting some walks and driving tours and things like that. But which side of 2026, 2027 do they fall on best? And what's our capacity, and still some grant funding to help support some of those. So we got a lot of balls in the air. We'll catch them all between those 2 years, and we're excited to help participate.
I'm delighted to hear it. It's so great that it's on people's radar screens, because 2 years ago it was not. This is terrific. Yeah,
Aaron,
yeah,
I was
Sheila.
going to suggest that we invite someone from Kennett Friends meeting.
Yeah,
There's a committee there for the old Kennett meeting on Route 1.
yeah. Oh, that's true. Right.
There
Yeah.
are also people involved with Western Quarterly meeting and lots of the historic meeting houses around Chester County. And I think that the Quaker presence in this area is integral to the history of the United States. So
Yeah.
we should pull
Can
some
you
of those
help us
folks
reach
in.
out to the right folks to make sure? Emily, you'll hook up with you, Sheila, so that we can extend some invitations so they feel welcomed. And yes, everybody is welcome to join, but sometimes it helps to do a little bit of an extra push.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Good, good, good. Other ideas from people? Lynn, can you talk about your lecture series that you have coming up with Bob and Lynn? You've got some stuff coming up this year with the township and wait, Lynn, you're on mute.
Yeah, this coming Saturday, we have Tina Bennett from the Kennett Township Historical Commission giving a talk on 250 years of Hamilton Village history, which includes, the skirmish that occurred there on the way to the Battle of Brandywine. And our second lecture is in June, at the end of June, and that's Mark Bowden kind of having a conversation with Bruce Moudy on his Chester County books and kind of the ins of why he writes things and what it takes to write a book. In September, Clark Green, Kennett Borough resident and filmmaker, is going to be talking about the history of Anson v. Nixon Park. Kind of the same format, 250 years of Anson Nixon, the land that is now Anson Nixon Park. And our last one is Catherine Quillman giving a talk on Indian Hannah and her presence in Chester County.
Looking forward to that.
No relation.
Colin. Yeah, I think she had an H at the end of her name too, Colin.
In some cases not. Indian Hannah Road, one end of it has it with the H and one without.
Really?
Yeah, in any case.
Well, you should know. Thank you. Thank you. Bob Sheedy, do you have any other ideas? I know you had so many things that you wanted to kind of hope that folks might consider. What are you thinking now?
Well, I will put in a plug that in researching our property, we realized Indiana Hannah lived here for a short period of time.
Oh, really?
Her travels around. So yeah, because we're not that far from the Webb farm. So the Kennett Township, we are underneath, the Kennett Township Historical Commission, we're underneath the body of the Kennett Township. So our mission really is to preserve, support, and celebrate, right, this community's heritage. So we're eager to be a part of all of this. So we work in collaboration for the most part. We help homeowners here very much preserve and celebrate. We did a program over the winter, which was great. We brought homeowners in and we brought a historian to talk about the architectural elements of their homes, that so many of these homes that are 250 years old. We've worked in collaboration with the Heritage Center and the library, and we volunteer some of our bodies to support that. And we're really we're a charter member of the 250, and really what we're trying to do is help everybody. And I think the idea that it has to be coordinated, because if you think it's on a normal year, two people doing things at the same time, I think 250, especially during the major events in history, like 4th of July, things like that, there's going to be a lot of risk that we're going to duplicate our efforts. And I think when you look at the Battle of Brandywine, which came through here, that involved multiple communities over a period of time. You look at the Path to Freedom, this township in this area played a major role in that. So we're eager to really also offer support on making sure it's historically accurate, getting anybody involved to help support these things. I know we had talked with you about doing programs with the library to help promote 250, working with your organization to help promote some of the events on your websites. really, we're kind of open-minded on how we can best help. And we work with Caitlin, who's really going to be the driver in, we had talked about having a community day. We're really exploring a lot of different ways under the organization of Kennett Township to try to celebrate us as a community, as well as everything we've become over the last 250 years.
Interesting. What would a community day, you want to talk about that a little more? Caitlin, do you have different from the other celebrations already out there?
I don't know how far down the line we are in discussing that.
It's an interesting idea, but yeah.
But anything that involves getting the community together, and Kennett Township, we own a number of properties in Anson B. Nixon Park inside the Bureau. Anything we could do to, I think, get not just 10 or 15 people together in a room, but we're trying to look for ways to get a large group of people. And like I said, to not just celebrate our history, but what we are today. And you know, we're a pretty incredible community with a lot of history. So finding every way to connect on that.
Interesting. This is just a throwaway aside. Marshallton is doing their ice cream gathering. They do it every summer in June, and they're going to do a Dare to Declare thing at their ice cream social. And apparently they have 200 to 500 people come out for the ice cream, and that's the community day. And it's at the park, actually, I think, as well as near the Heritage Center. There's a
One
kernel
of the
there.
things that got tossed around also was, you know, finding some way to walk or even run the pathway of the British soldiers and put that into like a community event. You know, none of these have taken shape yet, but it's been tossed around as well.
Yeah, the whole idea that I live right off of Route 1, and the whole idea that there were British soldiers marching by my house. I don't know how you'd close the roads down, but when you think of Paul Revere's ride that they just did up in Boston,
It got written up in the New York Times about it too.
Yeah,
Got a
it
big
was
write-up about it.
huge, but it's also taken them 3 years to, but yeah, the whole ride, the reenactors that they did, the stories at each place, the celebrations.
Hey,
And what
Bob.
goes
Oh, sorry.
down. Go ahead.
This is Hank. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Hank.
Hey, Bob, just a question for you. So I spoke a little bit before about hospitality and things of that nature. I also saw an amazing article yesterday about the creamery in your lovely town. Are you going to envision organizing or speaking to those people to host events and activities and such?
Well, I'd have to hand that over to the borough, which falls within their.
Okay, but conceptually, that would be part of your conversations, I assume.
Oh,
Yeah, they're invited, and we've been talking with them about 250.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
have a great facility.
Yes, they do. Even better to be.
Well, and one thing we talked with Karen, and Karen has hosted a number of events under Chesco 250, is I think there's a dramatic and an important value in getting our local business people who
Absolutely.
are just as invested in this community as us as homeowners and residents. And I think our ability to coordinate and connect and include our business owners is going to be really critical to how much we pull off.
Agreed. Thank you.
And Cheryl Kuhn from the Chamber Southern Country couldn't be here today, but she is also one of our co-conveners. And Matt, you're a good businessman and mayor. I mean, what do you think? How can we, and actually the downtown folks weren't able to join us today either.
On Zoom.
But we'll get them because we've met with them individually, and you're muted, Matt.
And I'd like to see the YMCA involved as well, which is a wonderful community center.
The Ys are, yes, they're going to do some discussions and community volunteerism things. Matt, I mean, this is a really straightforward thing, but it seems like we can work more just to get folks to be patriotic on the decor of their homes and businesses. Is that, I mean, just to get them thinking about it.
Yeah, I've been taking some notes and just thinking through, you know, what some of the opportunities might look like, and we'll certainly talk to Lynn about it and run a couple things past Kyle. But I feel like there's lots of ways, you know, the borough is really rich with organizations that really do a lot. Certainly, between the Y and the Garage Youth Center, and so many different opportunities. So my head's spinning a little bit about who we
Good.
can get to participate, and I will chat with Lynn and certainly the folks at the Creamery now with their new grant to start, with the Kennett Underground and
Imagine.
what their goals are going to be there. So I think there's a lot of things there, but this is the first time I've started thinking about. So I will absolutely get back to you on it.
It's great. The other part too is, as we've been meeting with the Longwood Rotary, the whole idea of business people and volunteers adopting different heritage nonprofits. And heritage can be pretty broad, for different projects throughout the year and maybe forever. But yeah, to hook that up as well. Yep. So volunteering in the community, civic engagement is a big part of liberty and justice for all and community building. Interesting. Yeah.
Karen, you just mentioned decorating houses for the summer or what have you. Made me think of some of the holiday decorating contests that some townships have had more recently in the last couple of years around me. They have a contest and sometimes a sponsor with a winner, a prize.
Right. We do that all the time in Westchester, and folks do love contests.
And they love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yes, just to bring out the sense of patriotism, and it's not just the visual decor. Some of them put music flowing through, and then the restaurants start to get the food from the period or whatever. So there's a lot that can be done, and we'll keep working more with the downtown folks too.
And I knew we do a number of restaurant tours that are very successful here, and they always include history within the restaurant tours. So partnering with those groups to help them be educated and appropriate and celebrate our history at the same time as our wonderful food scene.
Okay. We got ideas that we're writing down like crazy, and that'll help us to be able to branch out with folks who couldn't be here on this meeting, but we'll keep gathering it around. I want to be sensitive to our time because we said an hour and we got 2 minutes left. There's a lot of good ideas. So folks are doing some things in the works. We've got more ideas and more partners to reach out to. We're just going to keep trying to open a big tent. And as long as you're comfortable, keep talking about this and letting people know. That way we can keep getting the word out and supporting people. That would be terrific. We're just going to keep Zoom in monthly for a while just to get ideas rolling. So Zoom in when you can, bring friends and people who are not here. If this is a horrible time for folks to Zoom in, we'll come out individually, okay? And we have much more to do. The Ys, the libraries, the Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, there's all kinds of folks who wanted to be at this session and have more to do as well. But you all are doing a lot already. And Matt, I'm glad we made your head spin with some good ideas. Keep them rolling, and do not hesitate to send email blasts out, because ideas and progress are great. Anything else for the good of the order now? So 250 will be here in 1 year. Let freedom ring. Please keep in touch and let us know how we can help. And thank you very much for everything you're doing.
Okay, thank you.
Follow-up questions, stay on the line, or you know where we are, okay? And Emily will send out notes to everybody as well as links, so thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks so
Have a
much.
Thank you,
great day.
Karen.
Thank you so much.
Be
Thanks,
safe.
Karen.
Need you. Thank you.
Thank you.